What about Rocket Lab? Because Rocket Lab is, also down, kind of like Rivian, not as much, but kind of like Rivian. And I saw that you trimmed again uh, earlier this week.
Yeah. So, when did I trim? I trimmed at 98.07, and now it's at 87.82. Every time I've trimmed in the short term, it's gone down, and it sort of like feels good that okay, I took some chips
Mm.
off the table. But in the long term, it just comes back and makes all new all time highs. And uh, I wouldn't be surprised if it does that again. Where they're probably going to have a great quarter when they report the current quarter that we're in. They're likely also going to have updates on Neutron and whether or not that's on track. And what's interesting about Rocket Lab is the bulk of their business is actually from building satellites and other technologies, or like satellite technologies, basically. And that business is growing super fast, even faster than their launch business. So, what they might project in terms of the next quarter's revenue or beyond, and give us some visibility on that, is that the satellite business might actually be, growing in such a way that there's even more excitement to be had there as opposed to just a launch business. So, you know, Rocket Lab is one of those companies that I want to continue to own for many years because as you noted in the last episode, I did speculate that this is probably one of the only companies that I know of 2 years ago. I said this that has 100x potential on the market, and they're already up 20 times since that speculation. Now, I didn't think it would happen so quickly, but the 10-year sort of time frame is my time frame on Rocket Lab, and I want to still continue to own them 10 years from now. Now, I don't necessarily want to continue to own every share that I have today because I think de-risking is important just in case something happens. Um, but yeah, it is an exciting company.
And what are the application like for someone who's not into space or doesn't really know the area, this area that well? What are the applications of like how a company like this can monetize, I guess, their satellites, for instance?
Yeah, so the perfect example, like the pathway has already been paved by another Elon Musk company, which is SpaceX, and they have their own launch vehicles, obviously. And anytime uh, they want to send satellites up into orbit for themselves, it costs them a lot less. And they have SpaceX has built Starlink, which is the global internet service provider that can provide internet anywhere in the world. I actually use it. It's a fantastic service, and there needs to be competition for that. Amazon is a company that's getting into this business, but the speculation is that Rocket Lab will also likely get into this business. They've started to accumulate some communication technologies. Um, Peter Beck has kind of implied that what being an end-to-end space company means that you could build your own satellites, put them into orbit yourself at a cost-effective rate, and no one else can compete in the same way. And he's referenced Starlink as an example of that. So he's implying that they might go in that direction, um, which is uh, which is super exciting. If they do provide a alternative to Starlink that's viable and um, does well, let's say 5 years from now, this is definitely a business that could easily become a tens of billions of dollars of revenue relatively quickly, in the same way that Starlink has. Starlink already has over 10 billion of revenue and growing super fast.